What did a crush do to make you lose interest immediately? She was going to a party, and I said you seem pretty and enthusiastic about going. She replied with don't use big words. Not really a crush, but a few weeks ago, I was at the dog park and a guy came up to flirt with me. I was mildly interested, until he started telling this bizarre story about how he used to have a rabbit, but got tired of it, and threw it out into the backyard for his Rottweiler. Then he kept looking at me expectantly, as if I was supposed to join in with my own story of murdering a house pet. I just stood there blinking stupidly until he said, "So, you wanna ditch your dog and go see a movie with me?" "Nah, I'm good." My freshman year of college, I had a huge crush on a guy in my intro programming class. We sat beside each other, and while I could complete the exercises easily, he was visibly struggling. So I offered to tutor him after hours. He got upset that a girl was better at computer stuff than him and dropped the class. Introduced me to her son. She and I were both 14 and her son was about a year old at the time. I had a crush on this guy for so long. He had a beard, check, loved coffee and beer, check, and could make me laugh, mega check. He moved out of the state for a short while for work, but when he came back, I met him at a bar for his returning home party. Everything was going fine for the majority of the night, lots of flirting on his end. But he kept drinking, and drinking, and drinking some more. He ended up getting shit-faced, and one of his friends asked me if I could give him a lift home. I said sure, why not? Here's where the problems started. Homeboy wouldn't tell me where he lived, for one. In his defense, he may have just been super drunk and incoherent, but it was still frustrating. I was house sitting for my grandmother at the time, so I told him he was welcome to crash in her guest bedroom and I'd give him a ride home the next morning. We get back to my grandmother's house, I pull into the garage, and without skipping a beat, my crush opens the door, and just vomits all over the garage floor. Better than the kitchen floor, but it was spreading, and by the time he was all done, it had reached the walls. So I took him inside, and gave him a glass of water, and showed him where the bathroom was. By this time, it was at least 3 AM. So I was exhausted. I passed out in my grandmother's bedroom to the sound of my crush. He was slowly losing that title, spewing. Fast forward to 6 AM. I wake up to my crush standing right next to the bed staring at me, asking where he was. I explained and took him down to the guest bedroom. He had been sleeping on the bathroom floor. When I went back upstairs to turn the light off in the bathroom, the smell hit me. Shit, the dude left a giant pile of unflushed sh mixed in with vomit. I gagged, flushed it, and went back to bed. After I realized I had lost all attraction to this guy, I gave him a ride home. Didn't get an apology, but I did get a drool-filled, awkward kiss that I did not want. Then I came back, and spent 2 hours cleaning up vomit. It was Christmas Eve, too. The end. When I was in the 3rd grade, I had a huge crush on this guy named Robert. We went to Skateland for a school field trip, and I asked if I could buy him a soda. He said no. I was hurt, as any 8-year-old girl would be. But a half hour later, I saw he had bought this girl Ali a soda. I'm pretty sure I ran into the bathroom and cried. Anyways, I found my elementary school diary a few months ago, and saw an entry I wrote from this night. All it said was Robert loves Ali. He doesn't love me. I'm heartbroken. Got asked out by a cute guy wearing a leather motorcycle jacket, probably mid-20s, while I was waitressing. He was taking his dad out to lunch at the time. I thought, oh how nice, tough and sensitive. He picked me up for coffee, showed up with a Hannah Montana t-shirt, spent the first 20 minutes talking about how he was homeschooled and loved that he still lived with his parents, and how hanging out with his mom was better than going to college. Damn, did I read that vibe wrong? In the 6th grade I tied our shoelaces together to be cute and to have an excuse to be close to her. Eventually when she had to leave, we discovered I tied the knot too tight and she ended up chewing through one of the laces to get out. She looked so stupid doing it that I just stopped liking her. It wasn't our first date, but our first date at a restaurant. He was intolerably rude to the waiter. The waiter never even did anything wrong. He was just treating the poor guy like a worthless slave. Left date at restaurant and never called him again. He got his hair cut kinda short, and I discovered a huge, fleshy hairy pink mole. It was so gross. I was like 16, and I avoided him until his hair grew back. We're married now. She hung up on me. I was 14 and had pined after her for about 8 months. I had joined the choir to get close to her. I had started playing the Mothurfine violin so that I could be in music classes with her. I was in love with her and she knew it. Okay, so I made it kind of obvious, but I was trying to work up the courage to ask her out. We were friends and in the same social group. Unfortunately, it had become a bit of a standing joke. Has Dana asked her out yet? But the week before the school dance I finally grew a pair. I call her up and the call goes like this. Hi Kate, it's Danny. Oh hey. You know the dance coming up next week at school? Yeah. Well, I was wondering, are you going? Yeah, I think so. Would you, like to go with me? Click. She hung up on me and it broke me down. It took me a week to ever be able to speak to her again, and took me years to ask another girl out. On the upside, at our 10-year school reunion she actually apologized for handling it so badly. I told her that I'd forgive her if she danced with me, and she did. Finally got the dance with the girl who broke my 14-year-old heart. We were at dinner one night. The conversation wasn't flowing particularly smoothly. The bill came, and I reached for it. He thanked me and said he'd get it next time, that he had left his wallet at home. When we hugged, his wallet fell out of his coat. I saw at least a $50 bill in there. He turned beet red, quickly got into his car and sped off. This really happened. Was hitting it off with this girl, who had transferred to my school as a sophomore, was majoring in human biology. Got to talking about how she was liking it. I don't find a bunch of the stuff that we are doing right now very relevant, because I don't believe in evolution. Nope. Had been talking for about an hour, made my excuse, and left in the next 5 minutes. I was talking to this girl, and we had hung out a few times, kissed a few times, so I was about to ask her out after work. I parked my car behind hers in the lot, and I told her after work we should stay and chat. End of work comes along, and I see her at our cars as I'm walking out, but there is another guy standing with her, hugging her. Next thing I know, he is sucking her face and laying her down on the hood of my car. Ben, you motherfucker. Oh well, I'm in a better relationship now, 1 year next month. Thursday afternoon I asked to have a dinner and a movie date with a girl I had known for a little while. She agreed, set up a time to pick her up. Everything was cool. Friday comes and I shoot her a quick text around noon to make sure we are still a go. Yup, see you at 6. She was from out of town, so I had to take off work early and drive about 3 hours to meet her. When I arrive at her place no one is home, so I give her a call. She answers and she says she forgot and is out with some friends. Meanwhile all I hear is a bunch of her friends giggling in the background. Obviously I'm upset that I drove all the way out there for nothing, but I keep cool and said my respectful, okay, maybe next time. Hung up, drove home, called up some friends, and got pissed drunk. Heard later from a mutual friend that she pulls this shit all the time. Still have her as a Facebook friend and she always complains that people don't do anything nice for her. Tip for people out there, if you make plans with someone don't flake out on them. Was asked out by a guy, was interested so we started making plans to go get dinner that night. I asked if he liked Thai food. He said no, but he really liked to try new things. We get to the restaurant and he doesn't order anything. Just sits and watches me push my food around my plate, because now I feel way too uncomfortable to eat either. I went straight home after. I don't get it. We could have done literally a dozen other things to go out and get to know each other that wouldn't have ended in him proving himself to have either no will of his own or be some kind of martyr to my refined palate. I met a guy once. For clarification, I'm gay and we got along really well. We had the same interests, got along swimmingly, he was super hot, and I really thought that it was within the realm of possibility that it could actually go somewhere. Now, in the gay community it's pretty much standard that people are on dating sites/apps. I went on one after having come home from hanging out with him and found a profile of his that had been created the day before. We'd already hung out several times at this point. That said something along the lines of looking to get gang fucked by some big dicks tonight. Use me. Pound my ass until I scream. Need a few D's in my ass. Needless to say, after seeing that, I immediately lost all interest. Being a flake. I was going to meet up with a girl at a bar one night. Drove all the way across the city, Los Angeles, so it's not a quick drive. When I got there and didn't see her, I called her. No answer. I texted her. No answer. I hung around for a little while until she finally texted me back telling me that she left. I did not try to see her again. Well, I didn't. She flaked some more, and then I finally stopped. I was not a confident man.